The Enchanted Fairy Forest. In a certain mysterious forest, full of colorful characters, lived a little rabbit named Frank. Every day, Frank would run across meadows, leap over streams, and play with his friends. Frank had one special place that he loved the most, a glade surrounded by tall trees where sunbeams danced among the leaves. One day, as the sun began to hide behind the horizon, Frank discovered something extraordinary. On the glade appeared colorful figures. They were little fairies who began to sing and dance. Frank was enchanted and wanted to join in the fun. The fairies were very friendly and invited him into their circle. Every evening, Frank returned to the glade to play with the fairies. There was so much to discover. Magical flowers that glowed in the dark, mysterious paths leading to hidden corners of the forest, and stories the fairies whispered into his ears. Frank felt as though he was in a fairy tale, but there always came a moment when he had to return to his burrow. Frank didn't always want to go home. Sometimes he asked the fairies if he could stay with them longer, but they always reminded him that sleep was very important. "Frank," one of the fairies said, "if you don't sleep, you won't have the energy for new adventures tomorrow." Frank knew the fairies were right, but sometimes it was hard for him to understand. One night, when Frank was playing on the glade, he noticed something strange. The fairies began whispering among themselves and looking at the sky. Frank looked up and saw that the moon had disappeared behind the clouds. "What's happening?" he asked, worried. The fairies replied that the moon needed rest, just like everyone else. Frank began to understand that even the moon needed sleep to shine brightly every night. He realized that sleep was essential to have energy for new adventures. He decided that from now on, he would return to his burrow on time to enjoy every day to the fullest. When Frank returned to his burrow, his mother hugged him and said she was very proud of him. "Frank, sleep is very important. Thanks to it, you'll have the strength for all your adventures." Frank smiled and fell asleep, dreaming of the days ahead full of play and discoveries. The next day, Frank woke up full of energy. He ran across meadows, leaped over streams, and played with his friends. He knew that in the evening he would return to the glade to meet the fairies, but for now he enjoyed every moment. Frank learned that sleep is essential to have the strength for new adventures. He understood that returning to his burrow on time was important to enjoy every day fully. Thanks to this, Frank had even more energy to play with his friends and explore the mysterious forest. What happened to the moon when it disappeared behind the clouds? Why did the fairies remind Frank about sleep? What new adventures awaited Frank the next day? Think about how important sleep is to have the strength for all the fun and discoveries. What do you think Frank will discover next in the mysterious forest? Frank learned that sleep is the key to days full of energy and adventures. By returning to his burrow on time, he could enjoy every moment in the mysterious forest. And you? Are you ready for your own adventures after a well-rested night?